Okay, hello. Uh, Now I am going to do the second part of the review. I'm going to see, um, I'm going to see what they say, what are the news of the new stuff, okay? The new things that they have prepared for us. I'm very curious to know what are the very exciting news. Even if I don't get excited, I never got excited from the things they show. I got interested about some of their ideas. They gave their design choices because they indeed uh, their video game design choices are just the expression of the people's needs of certain things in an MMORPG. So yes, they use that at their advantage, those needs, and so they open a market, and then they are not intentionally, they don't want to truly make a nice video game. They don't have the right knowledge to do it. So yes, it's just another, you can call it a scam or simply a business, but it's the same. So let's continue.
Would like literally almost tear your skin off if you tried to flick them off of you.
No, nothing
Okay,
ever landed on me like that. That's
chat support
I've seen June bugs, but I've never had one land
How
on
many
me.
of you guys have had a June bug land on your skin? Yes, thank you. Thank you. I can't believe you've never
I
experienced.
just run away
June
when there's a
bug
big
death
bug flying around.
Oh, they have like a death grab. But
I'm
when I
like,
see this
I don't give
guy's
them the
feet-
opportunity.
This is the entire live essentially. Random jokes, out of context things to distract you, to make you feel that everything is okay. And yes, also don't want to feel like they have some weight on their shoulders. They want to release all the stress. So, and that this is it. So they just want to um, those lives are just meant to make them and other people feel better. Those aren't serious chats. Those aren't seriously made to share content to improve the video game. There is nothing to that point in that direction. Essentially nothing. So. So that's it. I can close the video now because I already said many things that prove the facts and the reality. So, but I am going to react to this live. Okay.
To land on me.
Yeah, but when I see that, well, sometimes you just play with them, right? So actually, sometimes in Midwest, you'll see trees with like these little sacks that collect the June bugs. They like have like, yeah, and they like, it's really sad actually. But this guy's feet, they remind me of a June bug. A little bit.
Oh wait, didn't mean to show that. We're not gonna show that. Sorry, whoops. Okay.
What are we not showing?
Nope, nothing.
Oh,
nothing. No.
Oh my God. That's
moving
a
on from
tonar.
there.
Was it the toes?
No.
Oh,
They saw
God.
nothing. Nothing happened there.
You literally just scratched probably a lot of different people's foot fetishes in the chat.
You could give Backnar a shout out for that one because he just sent that to me and I was like, all right, I'll see what I can do.
Oh, man.
So from there we have some really cool design stuff, and this is gonna get meaty. So
Very cool,
get your pens out, get your piece of paper out,
Wait, am I getting pinned? What am I doing?
No, not you. Them. For the stuff you're about to tell them.
Everything is cool for them. I mean, I know that everything you make is beautiful in some degree, but there are some things that fail, there are some things that aren't what you wanted. This is how video game design work. They are clearly not showing a real design progress. They are not showing the bad and the good. So they are talking about nothing. They say nothing and nothing. Okay, their lives are empty of any kind of content.
About the design updates.
That's right. That's right.
So, you want to preface the first part here of all the amazing stuff they've been working on?
What are we showing first?
Let's start with the...
Should we start with the world map?
Yeah, let's start. I think that's the best way to start because it kind of sets the precedent for everything else.
All right. Oh, let me just breathe for a second. All right, I'm ready. So,
we're a little wacky today.
What I would like to say before you know what? It's the end of a really long week.
Yeah, I think
this is what happens. This is what happens when the week is long. You can even hear it in my voice. I've been talking so much that my voice is like raspy.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I told someone else, I was like, I don't want to talk for like the whole weekend.
I know. So I apologize.
What the fuck? a singer can have such problem. Maybe this. You see my voice. My voice isn't. Is similar. Okay. So I never speak. I rarely speak and use my voice because so I think they meant to say that they never say any because the over exercising your vocal cords can stress them, but also not using them and all can also give you problems. Anyway, let's continue.
Apologize for the raspy voice, but okay. Now, in the past, you have seen, before we show this map, you have seen our old world map. And I told you a few months.
Yeah. Anyway, I hear that his voice is a little bit weak. I don't know why. If he did scream at someone, I don't know. Probably, I think some fight in the studio maybe.
Ago, that this year we've made some significant changes to that world map. A lot of those changes were rooted in a few things. One, as we've been prepping and building for Alpha 2, we have had some real coming to Norland moments. Where we've had to talk about, as these large POIs, as nodes are being placed, as those areas are being defined for freeholds, for roads, for everything that exists within a zone or the world. How is the spacing for that, right? And you can do, some portion of estimation based on simple math, documentation.
Sure.
You can plan things out, but the moment you start, really getting a feel for those things in the world, no good plan even lasts first contact with the enemy, right? That's same concept here. We had a plan.
This is your theme for this month.
This is the theme. The plan had to change, and it had to change because there's nothing more important than being in the engine, building those things and feeling those things out, right? And our level design team, with Jason and Ben and Chris on the node side, Bucky, helping kind of in building Alpha 2 and prepping for Alpha 2, we've been defining that density, that content density in the world. And it required that we made the map a bit bigger. to facilitate that.
Can I show it now?
So bigger map.
Give me
Okay.
1 second.
Nice.
Okay, hold on. There's one more thing.
Okay, all right.
One more thing.
I'm excited to share it with you guys.
The purpose of it.
From what from the talk he's giving, he's just expressing so many generic and basic concepts, and so it feels like he's trying. He will show us a very elaborated and complicated new feature. Okay, I hope it's not just a big map, because otherwise all this speech is just completely useless. So I hope that for the first time they are going to share some real content, some real interesting features. Let's hear.
Becoming bigger is, as I said, to make sure that that density isn't overwhelming, right? That it isn't everywhere I look, there is immediately something. I have no opportunity to see, areas of the world that are expansive.
But I believe that they also have had lag problems. Also in the alpha was very laggy. So I think that lower density is just going to make their job easier for and give them less lag. But I mean, more density you have, and usually better it is. So this is just something nonsense, because more density you need to design, of course, how this high density high density world is going to be, okay, to make it work and not be just boring. But so just making a world with a low density just means that video game has very simple mechanics, and then they need to simply make you work more to make you feel you achieve something. So this is not a good news. This is just a terrible news, and this means that they have for me that they have designed. They don't have a good world map design.
And are, just kind of wanderlust adventure feeling, right? You didn't want, you were sitting, everything was sitting on top of you, at POIs and nodes and houses and everything, right? It was like an urban area everywhere. No, it wasn't like that. But we wanted to expand that because a large portion of the game is a sandbox element, right? It's coupled with a lot of curated content, but
no, I never seen anything, any sandbox feature. Essentially, you have some pickups that are extremely railroaded and not sandbox at all. So I don't understand what he's talking about.
That's that sandbox element. So what you're about to see is also going to include a change in some of the continents that you previously knew, in their shapes, in their orientation. You're going to see two new, very large islands also that were incorporated for a lot of the naval play as we've been doing the naval play. So now,
more quality is not what they want. They whenever you don't know how to make quality, you just do quantity. This is never a good sign in any kind of production. So just to give you that little knowledge.
With that being said, we shall show you the new world map in all its 1,200 square kilometer glory.
So big.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I have to be sincere. So I wanted a bigger map, and I think that with the modern technology we can achieve maps that are very very big. I mean, No Man's Sky, and have such kind of technology that if you know how to use it, you can jet maybe a little bit less artistic words, but way more fun, way more uh, more big and um, more realistic video game, more realistically, more limitless. Okay, so yes, let's continue to see.
Look at it. So while they're looking at this, can you go into more detail on the specific landmass changes and why you guys made those? I think you started with talking about the islands as well.
Absolutely. So you're going to see some names here, a little bit of a reveal of some of these locations and these areas, and you're also, of course, seeing similar the biomes that are present as well. But more importantly, what you are seeing is the orientation of these continents and these islands that are facilitating specific types of intercontinental trade gameplay. And they support the relevance of these caravans moving across the landmass to locations that will now incorporate these harbor areas, which aren't identified on the map here. We didn't want to share that ahead of time, of course. But I had Mike remove a lot.
He removed a lot of stuff. There were many layers.
I mean, the map looks nice, looks better. So they did some improvement. It feels more real, more natural, more. So I like those few changes. So
show some more of this stuff as we move on, but in future streams. But the important part was providing a lot of coastal naval gameplay between these zones and trade routes between land-based. Now, if we talk about the surface area of the land compared to that of the ocean, let me bring up my handy little spreadsheet that I had with that stuff there. Okay, here we go. When we talk about the size of the world land area, that is, the ocean and lakes are roughly 750 square kilometers of space.
So much.
And on land, you have about 450 to 480 square kilometers of land play.
A lot of walking. I mean, bigger is better, but it's also harder to make. I saw some titles on some new some other guys also Asmongold reacting to those changes, and they know that bigger but empty is not something very cool. So yes, I think that this game is just, you need to make walking very interesting, and you need to add cool and fun small things to make the travel and making traveling fun. Okay, if you can make not just walking but traveling fun, then your game is going to be. I know what they should do. I know what are the right design choices, and I maybe will make a video about how to design a good system in such conditions.
So there's not too much that has been added on the land side, as there has been greater separation between the continents, a reorientation of those continents, additional bays that have been included, and those 2 major islands that are on each of the ends. And by the way, those islands are a throwback to, we added those as a throwback to part of what happens in the story from the original Ashes of Creation Pathfinder campaign some decade plus ago. So
the original map of this was from your campaign.
I know, yeah, a lot of that stuff. So now, when we talk about the Underrealm, which I know there's a lot of conversation about Underrealm, the Underrealm is intending to be bespoke segments of Underrealm territory that are available around areas of choke point in the world map that are above ground, which are provided for caravan transit across the world. So those caravans, as they're approaching these choke points on land, they will have alternate route options to go down into the Underrealm and to try to traverse that space as opposed to the choke points. And that is a very important part. So this Underrealm map, which we'll review.
So yes, he is making me. He's just making me feel bad about the caravan system. It's just because if it's going to be an escort mission like the old video games, like the old MMO RPG that didn't add any choice. They didn't add the technology to change that. I mean, it's just going to feel very boring, and this kind of design is not it doesn't give options. It's just very simple and linear and boring kind of travel of escort. So of course they should make the caravan they should give to the player more power and choice to travel, okay? And this choice should not be predetermined, and so should not be railroaded. I hope that you can choose many I mean, I don't care much. If they can make it work, it is good enough. There are many other things that require some fixing. So
in a future stream, you'll have kind of an idea a little bit about where those Underrealms live as a layer across this overland area. That is an important part about land transit and, of course, caravans. So what I'm going to talk to you now about, which has you guys I don't think have received this in the past, is kind of context around movement speed and the distance traveled between nodes and what those are currently hovering around. So when we talk about how long it takes to run across a node, to move across a maximum sized node, which is a stage 6 metropolis stage, it takes around 2 minutes and 50 seconds for you to run entirely from one end of a metropolis's plug to another end of a metropolis, which is a significant amount of time, of course. If you're mounted, that'll take about 1.5 minutes, or 1.67, I guess. If you are trying to move from node to node, and it's important to note that node to node, this doesn't mean that it's a built node to a built node. This means it's a directly neighboring node you're moving to. And sometimes that node might not be active, right? Because it's been locked out from advancing due to the stage of a node to its neighbor. But the distance traveled between without a mount.
That's very bad. This is one of the things that I hate. That you can't choose how to develop cities, develop nodes, that is just going to be a race where just some people are going to 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 where some peoples are going to jet less and others more, and this is going to make the game uh, feel unfair, and and I don't see. I just don't see how it's going to introduce any interesting mechanics. I mean, um, whenever you negate or prevent something from happening, you are actively uh, damaging your video game potential. So you should always try to uh, make all the whenever you have something that you have designed, you should always try to make those um, those choices, those systems, and okay, sorry, my cat is very okay, sorry. Okay, so let's continue. So yes, whenever you have an instrument, this some I can find the right expression. Uh, Whenever you have the mechanic, okay, that jet designed, and you decide to prevent that mechanic from being used in a open, and so whenever you prevent that from getting used by the players, then this just pulled some artificial um, restrictions, and that don't allow that interrupt and kill the fun and gameplay of players.
Just running is about 5 minutes from node to node. While moving from the center of a node A to, let's say, node B, if you were mounted, it would take you roughly 3.5 minutes or so. I'm sorry, actually, it would take you 5 minutes from center to center. From side to side, it would take you about 3.5 minutes. If you were to move across the height of the world map down to the other location of the world map of one continent, let's say, that would take you about 50 minutes. Now, here's the interesting thing. We've said always in the past that the world changes as the node states develop or progress. So that means that when a scientific node reaches a metropolis level, that the vassal network of that metropolis will now incorporate teleportation as an option. And in that sense, you may feel travel very differently between the start of a server and the server 4 months down the line. And that is meant to accompany
Teleportation, it's a very very hard mechanic to introduce in video games because it's very unbalanced, and it easily kill all the travel and other mechanics that are inferior, are not so um, this just means that whenever you need to introduce something to make the video game feel faster, okay, because this just simply means that your game design is boring, and that simply traveling is not a good it's not a fun activity to do in the video game. So this just means killing the bad part of the video game. So, and I mean, if you have if you did design a video game in such a bad way, it's good to just cut and make things simpler. But this is not this doesn't mean improving the video game. This just means doing exactly what Blizzard does, making the video game easier, because you know that it sucks. Okay, so because you don't have the ability and the talent to make it more complex.
That progression is meant to accompany the advancement of the average player population as well, right? If you travel a route, yes.
I don't want to interrupt.
If the travel is fun, no one want to use teleportation, and it should not exist. Okay.
But people are wondering if you said 50, 50, or 1515. So I just want to clarify.
50.
Yeah, 50.
Yes, absolutely. From the top of one continent.
On foot, right? Not on a mount.
Oh, sorry. That is mounted. On foot, it is 75 minutes.
There you go.
Yes.
I got you.
Thank you. So, why is travel important? We've talked about this in the past. You know the reasons why. We've all existed in games where teleportation is very easy to...
Why is important? Then why you want to skip it with the teleportation? Okay. When you don't know the things that you talk about, I mean, they talk about all the experience because they are player, and they talk about their all the experiences, but without having the knowledge to understand what's wrong and what can be fixed. They are just copying from their old experience, so they will make simply an old video game with the modern technology, but our old style video game that has all some of the goods and some of the bads, of the bad of the past. So
to use, and sometimes that can be a detriment, because you may have activities like a caravan run that's happening, and one person sees you from a certain guild, and they do the raid call out to their guild, everyone open your portals and come here within a split second, and we're going to just, mob this group. No, well, instead, that opportunity doesn't exist. If you want to provoke or to gank, an operation,
not on a mount.
Oh, sorry. That is mounted.
Sorry.
Mounted, on foot, it is 75 minutes.
There you go.
Yes.
I got you.
Thank you. So, why is travel important? We've talked about this in the past. You know the reasons why. We've all existed in games where teleportation is very easy to use. And sometimes that can be a detriment, because you may have activities like a caravan run that's happening, and one person sees you from a certain guild, and they do the raid call out to their guild, everyone open your portals and come here within a split second.
One moment, I got distracted again.
So, why is travel important? We've talked about this in the past. You know the reasons why. We've all existed in games where teleportation is very easy to use. And sometimes that can be a detriment because you may have activities like a caravan run that's happening and one person sees you from a certain guild and they do the raid call out to their guild. Everyone open your portals and come here within a split second and we're going to just, mob this group. No, well, instead, that opportunity doesn't exist. If you want to provoke or to gank, an operation of another guild, you need to have foreknowledge. You need to prepare. You need to place your forces around that area, and that is an important aspect. In addition, it makes that travel meaningful. Right? If you are having to spend time to move to a location, you're going to think about...
So what about teleportation? Why you say that it's going to have teleportation? Why you say this is not going to happen? I just don't understand what you have in your mind. Because you said you said some a good cons. You expressed exactly what I said. So
but what can I do along the way? Why am I moving to that location? How is it more beneficial for me to be in that location versus where I am now, right? This is also in association with the fact that you are a citizen of a particular node, and that node needs your assistance within its vicinity. And if you want to move outside of that vicinity, there should be a really good reason for that. And there's lots of great reasons for it, right? There's trade, there's treasure hunting, there's content that you want to complete, there's POIs that you want to visit, and drop tables that you want to have access to, like resource materials that you can gather and bring back. These are all important elements of regionalizing these locations and making transit between those locations relevant. That is an important aspect. What is very important, however, is that transit doesn't feel meaningless, doesn't feel what's the word? Doesn't feel tedious, right? There should be activities along the way. There should be anxiety in moving along the way. There should be, things that get your heart moving in the gameplay, right? That is the important thing. Oh my God, are we going super overtime? Oh my God.
We will be going super overtime, but okay. I'm okay.
I talk too much.
So Steven always say good things. I mean, sometimes he doesn't, but yes, he's right. He know what are some of the things that people want and people love. So making people's hair be anxious or be making such making the world something more difficult to predict and to control. It's good. So, but how is going to achieve that? What are his ideas? So I know that you want those feelings to be in the video game, but I want to know how you are going to make those things be possible. How those things are going to happen in the video game.
I talk too much. I apologize.
The other part of that is people are asking, I know we've answered this question before, but for those of them who are newer here, they're asking if the world is flat or if it is round.
The world, so we do not have world wrap. And what that means is you can't walk off the west side of the map and enter in on the east side of the map, right? That is another important aspect of it. So that is also important as well. All right. What do we have next?
So in this segment, we also wanted to kind of talk about how the players will interact between PvP and the open seas. And I don't know if you want to go into a little bit more detail about that or not.
Good call. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. So another important change that has occurred is the open seas is now an automatic flagged location.
So his player experiences of the past makes his everything feel good, promising, good, feel um, I mean everything feel true, because I mean they express so he express a very good things that make you feel that he care, okay, and that's right, he care about having fun in video games. I believe that um, I believe that they don't want to do a scam, okay, they simply want to have some profit, so have market their product, but also using their knowledge as a player, but they also have no idea what is needed to make something like this happen. So it's a little bit of ignorance about certain things, and a little bit of wanting to to get to get some I mean to get something back, some money, some so. Oh god, I am surrounded by mosquitoes. Um, okay. Okay. Let's continue.
So when you move off of land, right, we have a flagging system that protects. And the open seas are international waters where you need to be careful. And there is a lot of opportunity at sea. And because there's a lot of opportunity that's unique to that content, that's unique to that sea, that's treasure finding, that's NPCs, that's a lot of different stuff. There needs to be risk associated with opportunity. We've always said risk and reward, right? Opportunity and risk, that's how you weigh actions. And players now know when they move into the open sea, they are doing so in a method that requires them to be cognizant of their players.
I mean, I hope that he is truly trying to make a video game. I hope that he's I mean, he does love video games, sure, but I don't know if he's actually that good at faking interest, or because those things, because you can just simply look at some streamer, okay, and they just say the exact same things. So I don't know if his persona is just is fake, or there is actually love behind. I mean, I think that uh, the, he knows those feelings, and he did he does love, okay, uh, but it can also be that he's using this speech, okay, to get attention, without having a very good idea of how to make those uh, promises, how those changes actually come to reality. So at the end, it's just going to feel the hype is just going to make feel this game like a failure.
things. Who is near me? Who can mess with me? Who do I need to make friends with? Who do I know my enemies are? Who can I forge alliances with? How can I create flotillas of protection? Right? These are things that, as a dynamic of political intrigue,
Sure, but how are you going to make those things happen? Because there are certain things you need to know and to do to get this result. It's not like peoples are going to be friend and build groups because just to be stronger. Okay, those things don't happen from naturally. You don't happen if there is no reason for those things to be if you have no reasons to have a clan, then you are going just to feel like you're just going to feel like playing a single player video game. So you're just going to be a solo player, and so to make social interactions, you need to design not just risk and reward. Okay, risk and reward is just it just means that you are going to fail. Okay, and it's just how all video games work. You need to fail to then improve. So, and also you should not should know how to make rewards, because adding rewards that force player, okay, to make risks. This is a good kind of video game design, because a reward should be always proportionate to the risk. And how you do that? You need to know the structure of your video game. You need to know that the risk that you are, I mean, the thing that you want to achieve is the achievement, the goal that you want to reach is the reward, and they should not add anything else. Because if you add something else, then people are going to be frustrated because they can't get something they need, and they will simply there is going to be conflict between I mean the video game design should be simple, and from the simple things you then build the much complex interactions. So you should never start from something that is looks complex and then try to make it simpler. I don't know if you can get this. Okay. If you want, I can make you some examples, because otherwise it's hard for you to understand.
And the seas are a great place for that. We always know about the stories of like privateering and the ability to kind of work under anonymity. Well, you're going to know who's attacking you, but it's important to note that you're prepared. You need to be prepared for that, and that is a big change that we have made several months ago that we're revealing to you now, and that's also needing to be a topic of conversation. This, I would love to get feedback. Right now I'm seeing a lot of yays in chat, and we need to take those yays and we need to go on Reddit, we need to go on our forums, and we need to talk.
So whenever you add the rewards that that aren't linked to the actions of the players. So if you are, for example, build the hunting system, you expect you have a mission, okay, a quest that you can fail, you can accomplish, and then you have some risk and then you have some reward. If you achieve that mission, you should get awarded with the simple thing that you wanted to achieve. You wanted to get a certain kind of materials. So um, so then yes, you can sure mix the rewards, but then you should also make the game feel like you need to choose between those rewards. Um, so um, so for example, why you should attack a city? What are the consequences? The reward is always the consequence, okay, of your actions. Uh, and making for giving for example fake rewards, cool armors, cool skins after you attack a city is artificial and uh, is going to ruin the experience of players. Be- because whenever you directly and artificially um, make a city, um, I mean make a distraction. Whenever you make some distraction, something that give you something directly, okay, without any kind of mechanic, then you get some problems because imagine the city, the city, okay, that is probably also weaker, okay, it's a very weak city, and that jet attacked and for no reasons. So they can't prevent that, because if you add something, a reward that isn't linked to any video game mechanic, then there is no interaction, no choice for the player, and their only choice is to fight, and probably uh, there is no choice either in the result. So if you attack a city, it's going to be like I so today they have this weekly quest that if they attack our city, they get 100 gold, for example. So okay, they are going to attack us. We don't care. So it's just going to feel boring and without any choice, without any kind of interaction and strategy. This is not how to design a sandbox video game. This is a railroad kind of video game. So um, uh, okay, so they say nothing about all of this stuff, how they what's their um, program, how they are going to program everything. They say nothing. So, and from what he say, I just I think I jet that he's not going to make jet a good result with the with this video game, okay. And so imagine you being invaded by enemies, because those enemy jet gold, okay. So this will make also people frustrated because they feel like they have no power, and uh, and this always leads to problems and unbalanced gameplay. So yes, um, whenever it's the video game that choose for you, it's not you are not the one that choose that can influence the video game, then this is just going to be a very boring and bad style. It's just this is tech. It just means this is simply how to not make a video game. It's just the exact opposite of the meaning of video game, of playing and having fun. So let's continue.
About this mechanical change, because in my opinion, this type of change creates a very compelling type of gameplay. And not everybody is excited about PvP, but as I've always said, Ashes of Creation is not meant to be the game for everyone, right? There are a lot of games.
Wrong, because you should try to aim to a video game that can be fun for everyone. If you don't do that, it means that some mechanics are going to there are going to be some few mechanics that are good and are decent, and the rest of the video game is going to be broken. So then you will this means just that your video game is not the big MMO you wanted it to be. This is a contradiction, and this is just bad. You should never say that. Of course, industries try to make video games for everyone, but they simply don't make video games. They try to scam everyone, not so. So sure, of course, some people are just simply not interested in video games, and that's good. But all the people that have interest in video game, it's up to you to make them have fun with your video game, and this is very important. So it's just something I don't like that you said that. So
where it is entirely safe to exist on a server, and you don't.
And I mean, he's just repeating what the other guys. He's just a copy guy. He's like a Sasuke, no? No, how is the master of the? I mean, if you saw Naruto, I recently saw some a little bit of it. The copy ninja, the ninja, he just copy what the nerds say. So the nerds say that they want a game for their nerd mind, and that's right. But but more people you can attract into your video game, and then means that you are more capable and you're much better and more capable as a video game designer. Because if you do video games for few peoples that have few requirements, then it means that you are not going to design anything you're not going to design a good and complicated, elaborated and sophisticated video game.
Have to worry about threats or risk, right? It's just all opportunity. I know I'll eventually get the trophy, right? I just need to run in the hamster wheel a bit longer, and then I'm going to get there. Like that, everyone gets that trophy. What we want to do with Ashes is we want to
gotta work for it.
Rethink that approach, right? We want to encourage intelligent calculations of risk versus reward. right? These are elements that I think players feel really accomplished when they know
Okay,
that.
you want so many things, but how? You are the one that are going to make the video game. I know. I feel like your place should be just your place should be to just give feedbacks. Okay, you are players that have experience, and you are not made to make video games. Because you only know what the things that you want. Okay, you know how a good video game feel. The things that you care, and you are very good at giving feedbacks. You don't know how to get feedbacks. You don't know how uh, to um, to produce such things. Um, so uh, you just say the things that you want. Okay, the idea, the video game that you want, but you never say how those things, how you are going to make those things. You never say that. You never shown us how those things are going to be designed. Okay, are going to work. Because if you want those things, and you, it's like a science. You know when if you have a good knowledge, you know if the things that you want, you desire in the video game, then you know that are going to be present in it. Because everything, the knowledge is what is light, is what show you whenever you are doing something right or something is not right. So always so this is just the main thing that show me that they are trying, and they are not going to achieve any of the things that they want. So
They overcame risk for the trophy, right? That not everybody makes it, but I did.
The
And
biggest moments that I remember from MMOs have always been the ones that we, it was a trial and tribulation for, like the big raid boss, getting world forced on that, and how challenging it was. So for me, I love the challenge of those things. So we're excited to see what you guys think on that front. Definitely tell
Absolutely.
us, leave us your feedback, all of the goodness.
Now, you will be notified when you do that, right? We have a very intuitive UI that as you approach the border between open sea and coastal area, you are notified of that. You are warned ahead of time. There's a countdown when approaching. We interpolate the distance, travel, and speed you're moving, and you get to see, I'm entering open waters. And when you do, you have this big trophy call out on screen that says, you have entered the open sea. Territory fraught, or whatever. Like it is something
and
that.
And PvP is not the only thing you have to worry about. If you've seen some of the creatures we have in the water,
yes.
they're also scary too.
Very good point. Thank you. Yeah. That is a super good point. There's not just danger from players. There's dangers from content too.
Yeah. Now that we've talked about the map, what are the node changes that have been made? I know there's been some drastic node changes from the number of nodes that you have on the map to
that is correct. So
how vassal nodes work has changed as well.
Absolutely. So there's a few things. I'm not sure how much in the past we've talked a little bit about the hierarchy of node structures when they consume additional node zones of interest around them and incorporate them into a vassal-like structure. There's specific relationships that occur between parent and vassal. Lots of benefits, right? It is not a bad thing to be vassaled. It is a good thing to be vassaled. It brings many benefits from the sovereign, which is the ultimate.
So if you want cool things, cool graphics, you don't need a video game. See? Let's continue. I lost those few seconds.
front. Definitely tell
Absolutely.
us, leave us your feedback, all of the goodness.
Now, you will be notified when you do that, right? We have a very intuitive UI that as you approach the border between open sea and coastal area, you are notified of that. You are warned ahead of time. There's a countdown when approaching. We interpolate the distance, travel, and speed you're moving, and you get to see, I'm entering open waters. And when you do, you have this big trophy call out on screen that says, you have entered the open sea, territory.
Those are artificial mechanics that, I mean, if you don't know how to design them, it can, I mean, it's just something minor that you can do. It's not going to ruin the video game, but uh, but no, this is not good, because there is no reason to do it. I mean, there are some reasons, but this is very artificial.
Or fraught, or whatever. Like it is something
And
that
PvP is not the only thing you have to worry about. If you've seen some of the creatures we have in the water,
yes.
they're also scary too.
Very good point. Thank you.
Yeah.
That is a super good point. There's not just danger from players, it's dangers from content too.
Yeah. Now that we've talked about the map, what are the node changes that have been made? I know there's been some drastic node changes from the number of nodes that you have on the map to
that is correct. So
how vassal nodes work has changed as well.
Absolutely. So there's a few things. I'm not sure how much in the past we've talked a little bit about the hierarchy of node structures when they consume additional node zones of interest around them and incorporate them into a vassal-like structure. There's specific relationships that occur between parent and vassal. Lots of benefits, right? It is not a bad thing to be vassaled. It is a good thing to be vassaled. It brings many benefits from the sovereign, which is the ultimate parent of that vassal network, down to the vassal node itself. And it allows that vassal node to even live outside of its normal mechanics, right? You get to adopt some of the benefits that the node type of your sovereign is, even if your node type as a vassal node isn't the...
Again, this is forced. This is just some mechanic that resemble the world, the bad things that we have in the world, like tyranny and tax imposition. So I don't know why they think that those things will be fun for the players. So
same. What was the question?
How many?
How many nodes? Thank you.
How many nodes?
So we have moved from.
This is the main reason, and I mean, I live in Italy. My blood is part of. I mean, Italy is and a few other countries are some nations based on conflict. So I have it in my blood. So I have the things that Americans don't have much, because American is much bigger. City, the interactions between city is fundamental. Is very important, because that's the main reason you want to make war. It's because you have there is some conflict of power and decision, so and choice. So this is the main reason why in the past we peoples did wars, because there was a conflict in the same certain political aspect, religious aspects. If you force those conflicts to be solved by the video game and the AI, then you just kill all the political aspect of the video game, all the interactions between nodes, and all the reasons for the players to care about their node and their and all this system. So people are just going to care way less.
103 nodes to 85 nodes. And there's a few reasons for that. One, when we were doing the calculations behind how in Alpha 2.
So you want to design a world where certain villages interact with each other. They build roads and they share. And so this is something that the player should manage. It's not it's not the it isn't the something that you should force. You should push. So those nodes are going to influence each other, but where is the player choice, the player creativity? Where is the fact, the customization? Okay, and so this zone of influence is something that should be designed properly. It doesn't make any sense to add this big bubble of influence that magically change things. It's just nonsense, boring, game breaking, hard to learn for peoples because you can't experience it. So you need to go on the websites and learn from guides, because the video game is very hard to understand, and then people are not going to care about this. Only the few nerds are going to care, and so this is just going to kill any interaction between players, and it's going to ruin the video game in a certain degree. It all depends on how bad it's going to be.
And in the game, we want these vassal structures to exist. We had more nodes than what felt meaningful, and we wanted to condense some of those curated story arcs and hooks into the environment and realm around the areas to be
also the nodes. I mean, if everything is already set up and chosen by the video game, where is the sandbox aspect of the video game? It's just a lie. You have a fixed number of nodes, a fixed location, fixed buildings. So what are you designing? You are making a model, okay? Again, like all the graphics, like you're just making a map, not a video game.
more bountiful at a lesser node value. Meaning bringing down the node count so that we can increase the richness of each of those nodes more than what was at 103. In addition, go ahead.
There's some questions in regards to that.
Yes,
okay, yeah. I'll show the vassal node stuff.
Yep, absolutely. We can show the vassal.
So there's a couple questions here. One is, does that mean there's going to be less housing for people? And then the other element of that is, because the world map is so much larger, are we going to increase the amount of players that are on a server, which currently we've stated is 10,000 per server?
Yeah,
8 to 10,000.
Right now, we are still keeping the concurrent server population at 8 to 10,000. Although I will say this: that our networking team has been doing an absolutely phenomenal job on our custom network solution. You guys saw it in Alpha 1 with the density
No.
of players that we had available during our cap.
It was terrible, the lag and everything. I mean, they fixed the lag, but still that wasn't very nice, and it was just a very a very simple prototype. So without without all the features that they want to add, and those features should add a lot of weight. So if they can't if they can't manage if their basic I mean very simple prototype is lag and have problems, I can't imagine how they are going to make the complete version of the video game not lag. I have a hard time understanding this.
Sieges felt very fluid. There was not a lot of rubber banding. There was, performance was good.
No, no.
Now,
there were those problems were present. So I don't know how well they fixed them after, but there was a lot of people weren't able to play the first day.
What you are seeing here is the vassal node structure, and
so I mean he lied. I don't know how much, but he didn't say the real truth.
This vassal node structure tells you what it looks like for a sovereign at a level 6 metropolis stage. And what it can control at a maximum vassal network is 2 level 5 nodes, of which a level 5 node can control 1 level 4 and 1 level 3 as direct vassals, and then the 4 can control a 3, and every 3 can...
Where those rules came from? This is what artificial video game design means. Also, those rules doesn't allow player choice. Those are railroaded choices, and this is not how to design a video game. What's the purpose? Okay, why you need this? This can happen naturally. For example, if your city, okay, if a bigger city can build, for example, 2 roads and have a certain economical power, then he can interact with the level 4 city and level 3 city. He can interact with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cities, depending on his mechanics. But if you break the mechanics and make such restrict and unneeded rules, you are just ruining and killing the video game potential.
Control a 1 or a 2. Now, if the 3 gets removed through siege, the 1 or the 2 is removed as well. So that's an important distinction between the 3's vassals, which technically isn't really a vassal relationship because there's no citizenships possible. Those vassals don't exist between 3 and X, but they do exist between 4 and 3, 5 and 4, and 6 and 5s. And what this also allows is that because there are 85
so the guys that tried to make some small node or encampment, no, they can't. So no, you want to play, you want to invest some time. No, you can't. You lost everything. So have fun, okay? You can have fun with anything. So without anything, because you just have nothing to have fun with.
Nodes that are within the world. We have a buffer zone of about 20 nodes that lives in a max server state. So if you had maximum 5 metropolises form in a world, you will have a number about 20 nodes that can live alongside those metropolis networks. And when or if a metropolis falls, that extra cushion of nodes around the 5 metropolis structures allows for the map to be redistricted in a way that is unique. It doesn't mean that one of the 5s is just going to pick up where the last 6 left off and form the same exact metropolis structure.
You think that, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be it's going to happen. Also, I don't know how a metropolis can be destroyed. I mean, and why you should it should happen. So anyway, if you if you destroy the metropolis number 6, is it going to be our level 5, 4, 3, 0? And then you have the two. You will have you will end up with the other two level 5. Okay. Then those. What is going to happen is that those two level 5 need to connect and to the first one that will reach the level 6 will dominate. Okay, but if the level 6 it depends from what happens to the level 6. If the metropolis just become a level 5, then it can be chaotic, because you can end up with a level 5 that become level 6 and doesn't have enough nodes to. I mean, it's going to be, the space is going to be smaller because you imagine that the level 6 become a level 5, then you connect the new level 6 on the right to the level 5, and then what's going to happen? Then you have the old level 5. You can't of course have 3 connections. So it's going to the level 5 is going to be stuck. It doesn't have a connection, and I don't know how this is going to develop. Can it become a level 6, and does it have space to jet other nodes? Because otherwise it's just going to become a level 6 city that has no nodes to connect, so a weaker metropolis, and this is very strange and unbalanced.
From a territory perspective, it has ancillary nodes to play with and expand towards that redistricts the map, so that if a metropolis falls, there's a significant difference in the layout of the world, in the layout of these almost nation-like territories.
Sure, you are going to if everything was built around it and it falls, everything will become chaotic. What are the rules that will make? Because if this metropolis, okay, had a certain area, okay, of influence, and that so also the other metropolis had around that metropolis had occupied the territory. So I don't see how you can change the structure, okay? Because if you have a fixed territory, then of course the metropolis is going to be the same. You cannot change the location of it. I don't think that you have the space to do that. Maybe with this expansion, I don't know. We need to understand how you are going to program and design. We need the data, okay? Otherwise, you are just talking about a simple idea and scheme. So
That's one of the important aspects of that.
Right.
Somebody said, too many neurons firing.
It was a lot. And obviously, for those of you who maybe don't know how you take over cities and things of that sort, definitely check out our other content. We share a lot of that information. I know that we do have some vassal node information up on our website that will need to be adjusted with this new information. So we may put some new information out there as well. But
and by the way, I just want to showcase, as we look at this vassal node network, we talked about a lot of benefits that get conferred down from the sovereign or the parent to the vassals. But what we didn't talk about was the benefits that the parents or sovereigns receive. And of course, that lives in the realm of taxation. I noticed that there was some commentary by content creators and some communities about concerns of other games that collected taxes within nodes, and guilds got to use those taxes. It's very important to note that taxes are a 100% sink. They do not go into the hands of players. When something gets taxed, mayor doesn't have access to it, guilds don't have access to it. What happens is the nodes get the taxation, and someone.
This is just completely broken, and this is just broken, and it's very exploitable, like the real world. And if it's not going to be exploitable, it's just going to be a broken mechanic, because whenever you use the money and something that is from the player, and this doesn't become anymore something that can return to the player, it's just going to break a cycle, and is just meaningless, and this is one of the worst things they added in their video game.
Manages the node, and that's usually the mayor. But if a node needs to start a construction project, if they need to hire defenses mercenaries, if they need to improve the equipment of their guards, if they want to activate commissions and or buy orders, if they want to do a lot of stand-up social organizations, all the things that nodes do.
The problem with the money is that you don't have a fixed number of money. I mean, they in all the video games, it's a pickup, okay? It's a drop. It can increase and decrease, and it can break the video game. This is not how you should make it, okay?
Comes out of that treasury and comes out of the maintenance and generation of resources that the node has access to. Nobody gets to take that gold. There is not a power conferred to guilds or players by being mayor.
So whenever you use that money to get something, where the money is going to go? Is going to return to the players. It's going to be removed, and I mean, it's very, very flat and one-dimensional, monotonous design choice. It just kills variety and other cool aspects of video game.
That is a very important part that we need to make sure people understand and are aware of. And we've said that for a long time. But one other thing is that as a vassal feeding the parent, when the vassal reaches its cap, it overflows experience up.
Also, forcing players to to use their money, okay, is just going to give them a reason, okay, to not join the city, to not cooperate, and and uh, to not give. So this is just going to make generate and it's just going to result in a conflict between peoples that want the money for advancing and developing the city, and the guys that don't want it, that want to to give their property to the city, okay. um, and this is a very boring, broken way to interact with the city, to be active with the city, and very it's very, very boring. I mean, from the many things that you had opportunity, all the make I mean, city video games that are built around the cities are can have have such huge potential, so many opportunities um, to be fun, okay, and very, very interesting, and you just killed completely that. Uh, you just the only things that you talked are how to use money, how to how the monies work, and this is just terrible. So
to the parent, right? And so it can be very good early on for parents to get vassal nodes that are very productive, that have a lot of traffic, right? They do something, right? And you kind of want to capitalize on that as a parent node. But in addition, the parent,
of course, he have this knowledge in his um, he's just putting the knowledge that he got from his work, the fact that he is that he was a thief, because you need to be a thief to do the marketer and the I mean, and to make money in such way. Everyone is a little bit like a thief. So, but whenever you have such knowledge about money, then of course you is just going to use such knowledge to make the video game, because for him the fun is to is financial management, so money management, but there is no fun in it. It's just one of the most boring activities you can do. That sure is going to give you economical power, but it's just um, it doesn't have anything nice about it. So no, you should leave your experience, Steven, and your knowledge about making money and financial decisions, and just marketing and production. You just should leave those knowledge, not for other things, not for making a video game. A video game doesn't require those this, okay. um,
node also gets that taxation as well, and that's an important important aspect.
And then just to clarify, because you have mentioned that there's 5 metropoli as the maximum amount of level 6
Correct.
nodes you can have. Is that 5 still for both the upper realm and under realm? or
that is 5 across the world. Yes, that is 5 entirely.
all right?
Metropoli.
All right.
Metropolis-ali.
Do we want to transition over into talking about one of the new system with
Random choices and the numbers that you hope they are going to be right and balanced, but you just don't know because you just don't have a base and a core structure to understand how is going to develop. So this is why all the industries feel like it's a gamble to make video games, because people don't have the knowledge to know when something is going to work or is going to become broken.
which is like policies, which we haven't really talked a ton about.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
So this is excuse me.
These are just some examples that I'm going to have in the background playing. So.
Oh, nice. You have examples? That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Awesome. So it is important to note, one of our great technical designers, Jason Neal, has been working heavily on the concept of happiness and policies. And these are some of the things that citizens get to vote on that are proposed by their mayor. And it's a very short voting period, but nodes have a number of slots that they get to employ as government policies that are enacted and chosen by the mayor and voted on by the people. And certain policies get unlocked by certain happiness states of the factions within the node. And those happiness states are predicated across different achievements that can happen in the world, story arcs that get finished, bosses that get killed around you.
Happiness of what? The NPCs that live in the city? What? I don't understand quite well. For now.
Buildings that get constructed. Lots of different things can contribute to that happiness value. Number of citizens you've had leave, number of houses that it might have been foreclosed upon. Like, there's lots of different things that influence that. But when the happiness is met at a certain point, and even without that happiness, you can still have policies that you get to enact regardless. You may choose policies that do certain things for the node. And this is a big strategic decision that the node has to almost agree on because it's voted on by the citizens within a short time period.
So it's strategic because you say, and you want to make it feel like it's strategic, or you have some reason, some proof to that is going to be a strategic choice. Because right now everything you said wasn't strategic, was very flat and one directional.
But elected by the outstanding mayor. And when you deploy a policy, it confers benefits to the citizens, or to the area, or to specific buildings, or to the mayor, or there's a lot of different things that policies can influence. And policies exist within certain denominations. You have some policies that might be reflective of the culture that the node is representing, and you get access to those cultural policies. You have some policies that might become available because you've constructed a certain building type, and now you've attracted a guild of NPCs that are weaponsmiths. You might have some policies that are...
I don't know what policy means in English. I mean, I can kind of get it, but I don't know. Are those policies like some bonus to something?
Social organizations representative, you only get to build one social organization, or temple, which religion does the node follow. All of these are customization points that the city gets to choose, and now you as a citizen get to identify the city that best aligns with your progression within the game and your game style and gameplay, right? So those...
Just a very generic talk about like every time he talks, he never specify anything. Just say that is going to be fun, customizable, but then whenever he explains his idea and the video game design choice is the complete opposite. It's like in his mind he have his goal, and then his hands uh, make. It's like you have a goal, like you want to make um, a dragon with ceramic, okay, or with carving wood. You want to make the dragon. You have this idea in your mind, but you don't have the skills. You try, yeah, and you end up with like a terrible sculpture. Anyway, you end up with a terrible dragon. So that it looks like a frog. So I know you want to jet something, but you need to understand what your actual skills are. You need to be more honest with people and with yourself.
Elements of how you make your home. Sorry.
Yeah, there's some questions in regards to if those policies affect just the metropolis or the city that you're in, or if they trickle down to the vassal nodes as well.
Very good question.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit earlier, we were talking about the vassal structures, that some of the benefits you can receive by being a vassal of a certain parent is access to a policy that your node might not normally have access to. And in fact, you can also unlock an additional policy slot based on certain conditions that the parent or sovereign node may have access to in their reliquary or in their achievement systems or in policies that they've elected. Some policies occupy multiple slots, and it's almost like a card structure, right? You have each of these policies that live on a card, and you get to select that card, throw it into the slot. It goes out to the citizens to vote on within a 24-hour or sometimes shorter period. The mayor has emergency actions they can take, right, depending on certain predicates that get met.
So what those policies do? Are those policies, I don't know, going to increase, for example, sword production, alchemistry, or I don't know. Those are just bonuses to the city. So I think it's just like this. But this is just something very artificial, because the sword production should be directly influenced by I don't know what, by your materials, by the skill of your artisans, and by certain things. So adding a card game is not going to improve the video game. It's just going to introduce like a boring and meaningless card game, okay, and a little bit like the mini games in that they added in World of Warcraft, where you need to solve the puzzles to get the reward. I know that those bonuses are going to influence the city. This is just a little bit better, because then you can get some customization. You can choose, but then you don't need to become more powerful. This is just all wrong, because you don't need to become more powerful when you are linked to a more powerful city. You need to get advantages, and if you are linked to a city, you're going to get influenced. The influence of that city is going to influence your city, but it doesn't make any sense that you become magically more powerful and you break the rules. And so adding more slots and those things, because if you design a good video game, you should have rules. The rules are untouchable. The rules are very, very important. They build the video game, and so you can break the rules, but there are rules for that. So adding making those making a system, okay, where you can choose how your city is. So a system that will customize and make your city in a certain that will I mean, you can make your city go in a certain direction, and then you need to choose between certain options. But but you also need so sure, linking with another city is going to give to that city other opportunities and to work with, but it's just too simple to make okay. I think that this is very standard, old style, and not very original, but just leave it. Okay, there are many other things that should be designed good, better. So I know that this idea is not very original, but it can work. Okay, if the rest of the video game is fun, this is just something extra. So let's continue.
And if an emergency action occurs, they may be able to spend their influence as mayor within their term to set up a policy for a vote within an hour's period of time. And citizens, in that way they can sneak it through a bit. I might not have been on in that hour. Like, I come back and there's been some executive action determined by the mayor. What the heck is going on here? This better be a good decision or we're going to vote your butt out next election cycle, right? Like, these are elements that you get to incorporate. Yes, that would be a moment where the mayor might say, I am the Senate, right? And then he looks at the citizens and says, it's treason then. No, I'm just kidding.
I know we have a lot of other things we want to get to too. So the next thing that I wanted to bring up was happiness, which is another element and system that we haven't really talked about as well.
Yes. The happiness, as I just kind of described, is basically a set of predicates that are influenced by certain actions that the mayor can conduct or that the citizens get access to. And these just serve as the door opener or closer for certain types of policies to be allowed to be selected to a vote by the citizens, right? So, for example, you may have...
You could call it morale. People are...
Well,
we're calling it happiness.
That happiness could be in the dumps. Your people could be very unhappy. They could be to the point of revolting, right? And that might turn off certain NPCs. They may go on strike. They may not be accessible. But if you're really unhappy, you might be able to place in a certain policy that's like a military... shoot, I can't... My mind cannot think today. I am just dead at the end of this week. I'm so sorry.
So you know what? I think that adding features that aren't well designed is still better than nothing. So I'm just happy that they are doing this, even if it's not going to be perfect, but maybe it can also be good.
It's okay. We're following along with you.
What's the military thing? Martial law, thank you.
Okay.
It might be a martial law policy. And that martial law policy might be really helpful when it comes to prepping for a siege. that is something that allows you maybe to increase the number of conscripted mercenaries that you have at your allotment. It might be able to go into debt in the treasury for purchasing upgrades to the to the walls and the gates, or to place barricades and set curfews. Like there's things that can be done around happiness that's important.
All right. And then I think there's some questions regarding, does changes in a node count change available to player housing? So
yes, people's happiness, sure, it's just a cool thing to add, because it's just a part of the artificial intelligence of the NPC, and so I mean, I like this. So if they can manage to do it, I'm going to be pretty. I mean, we just need to know and see how they are going to do it again. So
if we have, I think I asked you this question, but you didn't quite answer it. In regards to, we have less nodes, does that mean there's going to be less player housing space, etc.?
No. So we have target numbers when it comes to the amount of static housing, apartment housing in areas, and freehold space. And those values don't change, right? We are going to hit those targets based on the concurrency objectives that we have for the server, between 8,000 to 10,000 players, and the number of registered users we want to have on the server. The goal is that those versions of housing live in different competitive markets. And that competitive market is going to set average player value between player-to-player transactions. That, of course, grows with wealth.
So I don't understand this player housing system that is separated by from the city, the nodes, because essentially speaking, everything starts from an habitation, an house. So when cities and villages are houses, so I don't understand the need to build those houses in the complete wild and complete. So it's very strange, because then it can ruin the PvP experience, the world PvP experience, and there is no need to do such thing. I mean, it's cool to build something outside, and I mean, sure, I think you should be able to do it, but it should be a feature that an advanced feature of the nodes. So something that 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 should be linked and designed with the concept. I mean, together with the nodes system.
As wealth gets introduced into the economy over time, but we want to have an equitable amount that's necessary to create scarcity, right? To create a meaning for why I would purchase a home within the world or within a city, right? And why that price is there.
All right. And I know we have one more thing we want to discuss, which is caravans, and that system has had a bit of a new overhaul as well. So do we want to start first with how commissioning a caravan works now? And then we'll get into each of the other steps.
Okay, and I just wanted to say one thing about the housing, is that he said that it's going to be fixed, and I mean, does this mean that few people are going to get this kind of advantage and the cool mechanic, and other people will not be able to get that? So this is just terrible, because you choosing what the numbers is not something that should be in a video game. You need to choose the how the rules that rule the numbers, but not the numbers, and you should not influence the player um, choice, okay, and break or ruin the player's experience.
Yes, we can talk about it.
And I'm just going to play kind of a slideshow of some of the cool
if I could
caravans.
ask one of my producers, actually, who might be watching the show, to order lunch for my writer's sink that I have after this, that would be great, because I totally forgot to do that. Somebody on the team let a producer know to order lunch for our writers.
I'll let them know.
Awesome, thank you. So to answer, guys, we love doing it live. This is how comfortable we feel with the community, right? We might as well just have a camera in the office that runs and follows us around as we're doing.
Don't tempt them. They want that, Stephen.
I know. I'm so sorry. What was the question?
This was how
does
commissioning a caravan work? We'll start there.
All right, so remember we talked about, players create components, right, that live on the caravan, and that indicates a lot of different stat values of the caravan. It could be turning radius, turning speed, it could be movement speed, it could be armor, health, damage mitigation, all that kind of stuff, right? You do that at a caravansary, and a caravansary is a default building type that gets that comes along with every node. It has upgrade paths. The node can upgrade that caravansary building for certain features that are beneficial. But when you want to launch a caravan, you must first had a caravan that's constructed at the caravansary. And in order to construct a caravan at the caravansary, you go to the caravansary and you say, hey, I've got all these components and I want to construct a caravan. And the caravansary will accept the components that you have. It will use those components. If you don't have components for certain parts of the caravan, it will give you default versions, which will be kind of lowest stat value that caravan can then have. And when the caravan's constructed, it will be hosted at that caravansary. And if you want to launch a caravan...
Okay. Those designs are very, very beautiful. So I like a lot those paintings. And this looks like it's going to be the core, the main feature. They are putting so much work on it.
And you will select the caravan you have available at the caravansary. You will then be provided with a UI screen that shows you the compartments of availability for storage that the caravan has. You can assign those compartments to members of a party or named interest. You can apply insurance if you want for any pieces of those storage, and it can go into escrow. And if the caravan ever gets destroyed, that escrow will go to the named player. And that's how we kind of set up that transactional, facilitate that transaction between players if they want to do those things. And then when you want to launch your caravan, so if you prepped your caravan, it's going to be in a launch-ready state. And you can launch a caravan whenever you want, keep it in the launch-ready state. If you click to launch the caravan, your perspective will leave to a world map perspective that sits above the node. And you will have a 360 line that lives outside of the node area at a good distance, roughly about 100 to 150 meters from the node, and you will spawn the caravan there. And it will take about 2 to 5 minutes, depending on some of the upgrades that the caravansary has, for that caravan to spawn outside the node at that location. During that time, you can teleport to that launch location, which is just outside the node, from the node itself. That way people can't follow you, see your caravan that's about to leave or whatever, but you can let your players know, hey, If you're part of my group, you can also port with me, and we'll spawn at the location that the caravan's getting constructed at. Once the caravan little construction site is finished, your caravan is ready to mount, and you're ready to move along the way with it. As you approach cities, caravanseries will confer a radius around the node. And that radius will be something visual to you in the world as you're approaching another node. And you will see a line, a kind of disembark line, where when you cross that line, you've reached the safety zone. And that line cross is outside of the node in a similar distance, but also based on caravansery upgrades, that the placement of the caravan at launch is. And so you only have to make it to that line. And once you do, the event surrounding the caravan and the ability to attack that caravan stops. And it gets auto moved into the caravansery. Guards will start to materialize around it. They'll grab the reins of the horse and begin to move the caravan slowly to the caravansery. And now you've reached a pit stop. And at that pit stop, this can either be your final destination, or you can relaunch it again. You don't have to stop at nodes along the way to your destination. If you want to keep going, you can keep going. If you want to cross rivers, you can cross rivers. If you want to go out into the ocean with a little raft caravan, you can do that too. And you can go to a destination and you can stop there and unload there. But if you're running into trouble, if you're under assault, if you're near attack and there's a node nearby with a caravansery that you can stop at, you can start directing the caravan towards that node. And all you got to do is make it to that finish line outside of the node. And when you do, the caravan auto will move towards the caravansery. And that is the changes around the caravan system. Look at that.
Okay, so this is, it just said that the caravan have some points of interest, and is going to move from point A to point B. Maybe I should hear it again, because sometimes I miss something. Anyway, the problem that I have with this is that how you know that people are going to have interest in traveling and risking so much to do some such transactions, so to exchange goods. Why you think people are going to do it? There are some reasons for that. So yes, it's very simple. This whole caravans concept. You need to protect the caravan. You need to that moves from point A to point B. Anyway, I want to just hear again some of the things that he said. Okay.
Yes, we can talk about it.
And I'm just going to play kind of a slideshow of some of the cool
if I could ask one of my producers, actually, who might be watching the show, to order lunch for my writers sync that I have. You know, players create components, right, that live on the caravan, and that indicates a lot of different stat values of the caravan. It could be turning radius, that's how we kind of set up that transactional, facilitate that transaction between players if they want to do those things. And then when you want to launch your caravan, so if you prepped your caravan, it's going to be in a launch ready state. And you can launch a caravan whenever you want, keep it in the launch ready state. If you click to launch the caravan, your perspective will lead to a world map perspective that sits above the node. Wow. And you will have a 360 line that lives outside of the node area at a good distance, roughly about 100 to 150 meters from the node. And you will spawn the caravan there. And it will take about 2 to 5 minutes, depending on some of the upgrades that the caravansery has for that.
Why can't you just move the caravan from the points you want to start, and that's it? So this changing of vision, and it feels like I mean, it's not so so nice. It break immersion. It break. Uh, I mean, it just makes it the video game feel like city, a, a god game or a city or a video game 3D. No, or a person video game. No, I mean a video game. I don't find the right word, the right expression. Anyway, a video game that uh, it, it it doesn't need to feel like a video game to manage the city. So, like for example, Civilization and those kind of video games. So
caravan to spawn outside the node at that location. During that time, you can teleport to that launch location, which is just outside the node, from the...
Again, teleportation. You say that traveling is important and teleportation can break it. So I don't know why you are not follow your rules and your video game concept and ideas. So I don't understand. Sometimes you say the opposite of what you wanted. So
node itself. That way people can't follow you, see your node, see your caravan that's about to leave or whatever, but you can let your players know, hey, if you're part of my group, you can also port with me and we'll spawn at the location that the caravan's getting constructed at. Once the caravan little construction site is finished, your caravan is ready to mount and you're ready to move along the way with it. As you approach cities, caravansaries will confer a radius around the node. And that radius will be something visual to you in the world as you're approaching another node, and you will see a...
What do you mean? The caravan is going to have a range of influence around the node. What does this mean? Does it mean that the caravan radius is bigger than the zone of influence of the node? I didn't understood.
Line, a kind of disembark line, where when you cross that line, you've reached the safety zone. And that line cross is outside of the node in a similar distance, but also based on caravansary upgrades, that the placement of the caravan at launch is. And so you only have to make it to that line. And once you do, the event surrounding the caravan and the ability to attack that caravan...
So yes, just talking so much to explain such a fucking stupid and basic thing that all video games have is the fucking start area and arrival. Okay, where the completion. So whenever you reach the point of your interest, of course. You are going to be safe. So this doesn't need an explanation. This is just fucking boring and obvious and video game design that you of course this is just the explanation of what means to go from point A to point B. You are not explaining any original you're not explaining how your caravan system is going to work. What are the features? Okay, you are not giving us information about the feature, and this just makes me think that you don't have features, and you are just explaining that what it means to travel and to have a caravan and to go from one point to from first point to second point. So it feels like so you're trying to make it look so hard and smart and intelligent and innovative, something that is just basic, very basic.
And stops. and it gets auto moved into the caravansary. Guards will start to materialize around it. They'll grab the reins of the horse and begin to move the caravan slowly to the caravansary. And now you've reached a pit stop. And at that pit stop, this can either be your final destination or you can relaunch it again. You don't have to stop.
Stephen, for Q&A.
I have a 12:30 writers meetup.
Okay, so I think this is the end of the video, so I will stop the second part. And I express myself much better now, probably, because sometimes my English is worse and I don't feel good to speak. So if I am tired, of course, and so we will see in the next video, and hope I didn't upset, bored you. So bye bye. Comment me what you want to know, or talk about things.